Now then, my name's Luke, and this video is on behalf of RTL. Now, I am well aware that one of the main issues that many people have when getting into drafting is coming to terms with a budget, and while most of this does come with time, today I want to handle the idea of spending a significant portion of your budget on high value players at the start of a draft, which leaves you with limited funds towards the other end. Mainly, I want to set aside this time to make the video and introduce some cheaper options that you could use if you found yourself in such a situation, and also to plant some seeds such that you can identify good targets yourself if you are ever boxed into that end of the draft pool. Now, what is key to come to terms with here is the idea of player specialization versus this overall quality function, as typically you're getting a trade-off between these two values when looking at a player in this price bracket. One example I think I want to bring up is Sebastian Veer, who looks a mercurial winger, but I don't think I'd want him to do anything else. In comparison, I suppose I would want to draw your attention to Omer Atsley, who looks much more of a well-rounded player, but naturally does not have the physicals to beat a man in the same way. What's also important to get across is the fact that these players aren't supposed to be billed as your first team options. These are stopgaps that could do a job provided there is a suspension or an injury, or maybe you just need a substitution. I'm not recommending you play these for an entire 90 against more expensive opposition. Sue me, I suppose. And, well, now I guess I'll bring you to the main selling point of the video, the 11 of players that I would like to show. Starting from the back, I would like to show you Manuel Riemann. There's a lot of solid keepers at 750k. Mignolet, Adrian, Ulreich stand out as names that I can remember, Kalinja as well. And I think due to some changes in the match engine, that Riemann does stand above a lot of them this year. He also has very good passing, and I mean, when you look at the numbers, they look pretty good. You know, bigger number, better player type thing. And he's got 18 rushing out. I'm pretty sure that's a thing this year because keepers for some reason don't like claiming crosses, and usually it'll just kind of like miss them very slightly, and then there'll be a guy at the back post to just tap it in. At right back is probably the easiest pick on this list, and it's Max Aarons. Physically, he's immense, and he's got attributes where he needs them. He's very solid, and he can also play at both fullback positions, which is kind of just great. Sure, I'd probably like more strength, more aggression, more bravery. You know, it'd be great if he could jump higher, but for the price, I wouldn't be worried about those things. Moving left, I would like to bring Hans Olsen to your attention. This player is a very strong choice as a no-nonsense centre back, and his attributes make him extremely well suited to such a role. Naturally, you're lacking in dribbling at first touch and technique in all the ways that, well, your better defenders would not be, but I still think he's significantly undervalued in the draft pool, and it's a very easy option if you need a backup. Alongside him, I would like to propose Malang Sarr, who is still very good, despite, well, like he has been for a long time now. He does have more technicals than Olsen, actually having dribbling and first touch attributes. However, he does significantly lack jumping reach, which I suppose people may wish to leverage against him as a reason to not use him as a centre-back, but I mean, he can cover full-back. I see no reason why he would not be extremely good at that task either. At left-back, I would like to pull up Miguel Gutierrez. And the more I look at him, the less I believe he actually costs less than $1 million. I'm a big fan of wingbacks with good dribbling this year, and Gutierrez is almost certainly a good example of that. Otherwise, he's extremely solid, and I would presume him to be a strong pickup for most sides. Moving into midfield positions, I would like to introduce Ali Mohammed. I suppose I would prefer to say a ball-winning midfielder who has basically every attribute you would want for the role, with very good legs and solid technicals where they count. Next, we are on to Shoshev, a Bulgarian midfielder whose price I really don't comprehend, simply because of the amount of numbers that are on his player profile. I'd recommend a centre midfielder on attack with finishing, composure and jumping reach like that, but I have no doubts he could put a shift in all over. Moving on to the right hand side, I have chosen Andrei Yarmolenko. Again, much more of the same like Chochev in regards to just how many solid attributes the player has. I understand some people may wish for more physicals or for a faster winger, but that is your choice to make. My chosen left winger is Akram Hafif, mainly due to his on-the-ball abilities, but once again I would like to highlight the lack of mentals. His teamwork, work rate, composure, concentration, decisions are all fairly low, which brings us to the point where I remind you, we're looking at cheap players and they are all bound to have flaws. What you have to do is decide which attributes you're willing to sacrifice and choose such players accordingly. Now, moving centrally, my choice of attacking midfielder is Tokmak Nguyen, who was the top assister in RTL Season 5 Group A. Which, well, this player really does emphasise the point I was making prior. And tangentially to this, I would like to talk about more technical attacking midfielders. As such, I would like to contribute Alexandru Maxim, who is much more technically proficient than Nguyen, but suffers considerably in his physical attributes. Looking further up the field, I would like to show my choice of striker as Iliman Ndiaye, who is technically proficient with a lot going for him. However, I would also like to provide you a reminder that your striker is system dependent. For some of these, I have given examples. Baghdad Buneja, much more well-rounded, likely better if you just need someone to score goals. Felipe Caicedo has significant mentals. Daitsen Maeda is unbelievably fast, and Paul Onuachu's a bit tall. It is your choice to do what you will. I can only simply put you in the right direction. With the team finalised, I would like to make a point, and that is not to take this list as gospel. There are a lot of players around at that price point that are all capable of playing very specific different roles. So I advise you to take your system into account and make choices in relation to the game you want to play and the roles in which you want them to perform. Watch what you're doing. Stay safe.